You don't start things and not finish them. You don't quit. There's nothing that comes out of quitting besides knowing that you didn't finish. We finish everything. You start it, finish it. If you're going to do it to try to be the best. Not to be better than other people, but to be the best for you. You grind hard so you can play hard. The work you put in will pay off. It could be a year, it could be 30 years, but you keep grinding. Welcome to Big Reptile Talk.
Welcome to the podcast. This is Big Reptile Talk. As always, much love to the sponsors. Please go give us a big follow to Venom Proof Cages. Make sure you go check out Ozzy Boys and Balls to You. All three amazing people. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. I'm super excited. Today we have a special guest. I'm so excited. But before we bring her in, I want to thank the early people coming in. So I'll show a few of them. Just thank y'all for showing up. Much love to Ozak. Y'all make sure you go give her a channel subscription. Much love to my Animal House. He's a channel member. Much love to my buddy J&G Reptiles. Bosa Balls, man, I see you. Thank you so much for showing up. Hey, man, this man is trying to get his YouTube off the ground. Everybody, please make sure you go give Mark's Reptiles a follow. An awesome guy. Just so many people showing up. Kara Shay, thank you for being here. Please make sure you go check out Iron Dog Reptiles. Awesome guy. Has a podcast tonight, the Iron Animal Show. Make sure you go check it out. Just so many people showing up. What is up, Wild Boy Dev? You don't know who Wild Boy Dev is, you're under a rock. He's always at the Reptile with Brian Barczyk. Make sure you go check him out. What is up, DG Reptiles, Morbid Retail? Everybody, man, I appreciate y'all for showing. What is up, man? I love all y'all in the chat. So without further ado, let me bring the guest on. It is summer. And we are not talking about Will Nace's girlfriend. We're talking about Summer from KINOVA, a.k.a. Girl with Scales. Man, I'm excited to have her here. What is going on?
Hey, how are you?
I'm excited to talk to you, man, because you're doing incredible stuff over there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Before we talk, I want to make a reference, and I'm kind of curious. Are you a Spider-Man fan?
I am like the movies. I've seen them all. Yeah, I like them. I do.
So do you get the reference when I say you're like the woman version of Spider-Man?
I don't know if I feel that way, but I'm flattered.
Just go with me. I'm gonna tell you why. So if you don't really follow Spider-Man, his normal civilian identity is Peter Parker. And Peter Parker works for the Daily Bugle, and he's a reporter, but not just a reporter. He's real good with the camera, right? So when he's out, being Spider-Man and all that, he's taking a picture. He's getting good pictures of himself being Spider-Man. So I say, you're Peter Parker in essence of being good with the camera.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, I can see that.
I
use it a lot.
All right, I want to jump right into it, man. We all know that you are the behind the scenes over there at KINOVA, but I want to ask you, why animals? What made you really want to start, kind of basing your life around animals?
Yeah, so I was really lucky in that I grew up with a family that was animal people, my mom specifically, and then my grandma before her. My grandma was like a horse and dog type person, but she worked with primates and stuff too. And then my mom grew up doing all that. And so just my whole life, we've always just had kind of bizarre animals. We were always that house that like the kids wanted to go to because we had emus and chickens and peacocks and horses and dogs and rabbits and parakeets and parrots and lizards and snakes and any kind of, just whatever. My mom loves all animals. So anytime that there was an animal in need, she would take it in and take care of it. So I grew up with them, so it was always a part of my life, and I feel very grateful for that because I didn't face a lot of the challenges that other people face that are interested in animals, which is like the pushback from their family. My mom, I was just on the phone with her actually. She's on vacation right now, and she went to this zoo while she was on vacation, and she was telling me, she was like, I want to go back to the school so I can go work at a zoo. So my family just was always into it, and I wouldn't say that I knew that I always wanted to work with animals as a job. It's definitely something I wanted to do as a kid. like when I was in middle school, like my dream was like, oh, I'm going to be a reptile, like a herpetologist. But as we grow up, our interests change, and I went through tons of different phases, and just kind of always was interested in them. And I'm just really lucky that I was able to turn that into something I could make a career out of.
Right. I love that, man. Now, I want to talk about, we know what KINOVA has over there. I want to talk about your collection. Let's talk about, what's some of the stuff you're working with right now.
Yeah, so I have a pretty small collection at home because I do work with animals at my job, and it could very easily become overwhelming. So I keep a small but highly curated collection of mostly Moralia, so a lot of Australian stuff. I guess my favorite species that I have are I have rough scale pythons. I've got Brettles pythons, and then I really also love the super dwarf retic stuff. I've got a pair of super dwarf retics, and then I have also some other carpet pythons. I've got a king snake, just some random things as well. But I would say that the kind of the pinnacle of my collection would be my Brettles and my rough scales. Those are my two main focuses that I really love.
Awesome. I love that. Now, we talked about your collection. Now I want to know, and it's kind of hard because, you're working with Justin Kabelka. This is the king. So I want to know, what's your favorite snake at work?
Oh, gosh. It changes every week. Every week I go in on Monday and I look at the clutches that have just hatched, that are kind of waiting to shed, like the newest of the new. And every week there's something new that I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the most amazing snake I've ever seen. But if I had to pick one, I really do have to say it's cliche, but for a reason, the Desert Ghost Xanthic Clown. I don't know if you've seen that snake, but it's amazing. And it's getting better and better. It's getting bigger and bigger, brighter and brighter. I really, really love that animal. But there's so many that I love. I don't know. I can find the beauty in them all, even the ones that are less, not like crazy. I'm like, oh, that thing about you is really cool. So it's really fun to go in and just get to open up the drawers and be surprised and see something new. So yeah, it's hard to pick a favorite, but if I had to, it'd be the Desert Ghost Xanthic Clown.
Isn't that hard to say? Can I pick your favorite snake at KINOVA?
It's hard. Yeah. Well, especially because every time people come over and like we do a tour or something, I end up finding snakes that I forgot we had. And I'm like, oh man, this one is really cool. I forgot about you, because there are just so many, and we're always hatching. We're like 80 or more clutches into 2022 already. So there's just a plethora of stuff always coming down the pipeline.
Right now, with you have your small curated collection, but let's say, you couldn't have any snakes in the world. You couldn't have it. You could only have one animal for the rest of your entire life. What would it be?
Well, I have two answers for that. If I could only have one animal out of my collection, like I had to get rid of everything for some reason, it'd be I have a super dwarf retic Giles. He's just don't tell the others, but he's my favorite. And if I could only have one, but if I had to pick, like I get to pick any species ever, it would be the Bolins. I would just have a Bolins. They're just amazing.
He has there's one in KINOVA, right? When you walk in, isn't it?
We've got a pair, yeah, and they are by far my favorite snakes to work with. They are so calm, but also curious at the same time. It's just like they have this like regal quality about them, where they just seem like they know that they're cool, but not in like an aggressive way. They're just kind of like, I'm going to do what I want. They're not fearful. They're just amazing. And they're so beautiful to top it all off. So.
Right. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm terrible at Morse. I make more stuff. That's a chocolate, strawberry, banana. So my question to you. So my question to you is like, how did you learn all these Moors? Because there's so many of them. Did you have to go through and learn them all, or you just kind of learn them as you go?
So I had a little bit of an advantage because like I said, I really got into the reptiles back in around 2003. So when I was first getting into it, and I was really into it, like researching constantly, there wasn't that much out there. So it was really easy to grasp what those morphs were that were out there. And then I kind of stayed tuned into it. Even if I wasn't super into it, I kind of would always kind of go back to it every couple of years and kind of get back into it for a little bit. So I was able to kind of pick stuff up as I went. Now I'm no Justin. I certainly have learned so much from being there, but I really feel that having that baseline understanding of the genetics and like most of the common morphs really, really helped lay the groundwork for being able to pick up on, some of the more off the wall or newer combinations and, stuff like that. But it's a learning process. Like I said, I go in every week and I look at the babies that haven't shed yet, because the process is at our facility that we don't, Justin, like in his head might like think, oh, I think that's this, but he doesn't officially ID them until after everything has shed and we take pictures of them. And even then sometimes he changes his mind afterwards. But so what I try to do is I go in before they've shed or when they're still in the process of shedding. And I try to figure out in my head what I think they are. And then when I see what Justin says they are, I kind of like compare and contrast and I like test myself. I'm like, well, did I get that one right? Or like, oh, I see where I messed up there, So I kind of do that on my own just because I think it's fun. And my goal is to like one day like have to correct Justin on a snake. Like, no, you missed this. Hasn't happened yet, but maybe one day. So yeah, I'm always learning, but I really enjoy it.
I love it, man. I love it. Now, I gotta throw a hot seat question in there because you're working alongside the king of ball pythons. So we're gonna call you the ball python queen. So like, let's say I was to make a movie about your life, and I want to call it the ball python queen. Who am I gonna get who am I gonna get to play Summer in my movie?
Oh gosh,
any actor?
No, I don't know. That's tough. I would say you'd have to pick somebody who is obviously not afraid of snakes. So I don't know about that. No, I don't know. I'll just tell you. So some of my favorite actresses, Anne Hathaway. I think she's great. She has brown hair. We'll go with Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway, the ball python queen. I love it.
There we go. Yeah.
I'd pay to see that. That's funny, man. Now give us give me a walkthrough because I've never been to KINOVA. I want to go. Okay. So tell me, what is it like? Does he have, because this is the holy grail. Does he have snipers, pit bulls? What is guarding KINOVA? Give us a walkthrough.
Right.
So, how is it when you walk through the doors?
So first you got to get through the gate. So we have the iconic iron gate with the snake logo. So every day, I punch in my little pin code and I get in there and I feel like I'm like in Batman or something. And then when you walk in though, I mean, it's you walk in on your left, we have some display cages. They have the pair of Boland's pythons. And then we also have a super dwarf reticulated python that we got from Garrett Hartle at REPTILE. Shout out to him. And you walk in, we have a little kitchenette type thing and for the staff. And then on the left, we have our special projects room, which right now is kind of a little bit in disarray. We're actually just putting in a big order to kind of update that room and get a bunch of new cages in because Justin may be starting another snake collection. Spoiler alert. But you'll find out soon, potentially. Not ball pythons. He may have his eye on something else. So we're going to be updating that to kind of make it fancier. And then, you walk in the hallway. We have our office on the right. Most of the time, it's just me in there. If it's not just me, it's usually me and Justin. And if it's not just me and Justin, it's me, Justin, and Chase. And we just have our computers and all of our setups and everything in there. And then, from there, you go into the big snake room. And that's kind of the cream of the crop for the facility is just the awesome ball python room. It gets about 5 degrees warmer when you walk in there. You can feel the humidity. And it's just wall to wall. Every single wall is covered in ball python racks. And you could spend all day in there easily. And we do, especially if you have to clean them.
I'm so jealous of your life. Like, I wish I could stop working at my job and work at your job. I'm jealous.
Yeah, well, that's what I did. I stopped working at my old job and started working there. So yeah, no, it's great. Yeah.
Now, if I remember correctly, you went back, right? Because you were there and you left and you went back, right?
Yes, that's true. Yeah, I did. I worked there for like 8 or 9 months cleaning cages and just doing, kind of helping out in that way, animal care. And then but I was working 2 jobs, so I had to pick one, and I picked the one that I wasn't like getting like a torn like shoulder, like rotator cuff injuries from. So I quit and I had a different job, and then I came back on remotely, just helping out. Honestly, it was just answering Instagram messages and putting up Instagram pictures. And then from there, he kept asking me to do more until eventually I was back working 2 part-time jobs. And then it just made more sense for me to switch over. So yeah, I've been there full time for a year and a half now.
Well, never leave, because you're an icon over there now.
That's the dream.
With you being over there and so many, amazing breeding projects, there's so much knowledge when you're working with Justin. So my question to you is, are you doing any breeding? Do you want to do any breeding of any sort of with your collection?
I do eventually want to breed. Everything that I have is pairs. So I have males and females of everything, or multiple, females. But my stuff is also stuff that doesn't mature quite as fast as a ball python. So a lot of my stuff won't be able to breed until 4 or 5 years old. So I'm just waiting them out at this point. I have next year, I should be able to breed 2 of my species. I should be able to breed my IJs, my pop-up carpet pythons, and then I should be able to breed, fingers crossed, my Brettles pythons. But I really got to get my female up to size, because I've kind of been feeding her, I guess, not as much as I should, because she's nowhere near being breedable size. My male's ready, but she's not. So I might have to wait an extra year on her and kind of push the feeding a little bit. But
right. That's since you said that, let me give you an idea. Let's see what you think about this.
Okay.
Since you're gonna be doing a little breeding, why not? We have like a little building off to the side of KINOVA, and we call it Sonova, and it'd be your part.
I like it. I'll run it by Justin. You never know what they'll say.
It'll be your part with your breeding projects, and then see, Justin could be selling his snakes, Sonova could be selling theirs.
I mean,
make it double the profits.
It would help me. I don't know if I could double his profits, but but it would help me out, because I definitely need this. I need the space. That's part of the reason that my collection is as small as it is, not just because of the time, but just I live in a really small rental house right now. I just got married, so we're hoping to move into buy a house soon, and then I'll have some more space to really expand and focus on that a little bit. So I've kind of been growing up stuff slowly, because I don't want to run out of space here. But yeah, definitely down the line, I'd like to breed.
Well, congratulations. So now I got to give you a hot seat question. And with this hot seat question, you're going to be a little biased. So we're going to eliminate. We love Justin. We know he's the king, but we're going to eliminate him. So if you didn't know Justin, hot seat question: who would be Summer's favorite breeder?
Ozzy.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, all the orange dream pies and crazy stuff he does. Yeah, Ozzy. But there's so many good breeders out there and good projects. That was just the first one that came to mind. I don't mean to disparage anybody else, but I would say Ozzy. And then, but every time that I go to a reptile show, honestly, I see so many people that are doing amazing things and have their own spin on stuff. And I think that's what's really fun about the hobby, is that, everybody has these projects. Somebody else that comes to mind is JD Constriction. John, with the Xanthic stuff, I love people that just have a vision and an idea, and they just go for that. So him doing basically snakes in black and white, I think that's awesome and so cool. So yeah, I really love, so many people in the industry.
You're naming off some insane creators. I love the Stormtrooper, but I love Ozzy too. I love Ozzy. Now I'm gonna be honest. You know why I love Ozzy?
Why?
Because Ozzy will sell you a snake, but not just that, he'll make you feel like you can buy the whole block.
Oh yeah, that's not, I've never bought a snake from Ozzy, so maybe I need to buy one and then I'll feel like that too.
He's very business oriented. He'll tell you, save your money, do this, let's invest in wealth, let's buy real estate. He'll make you feel like
he's a smart businessman. Yeah.
By the time you talk to Ozzy, if you don't feel like you can have 10 rental properties, you didn't talk to Ozzy.
Well, that's good to know. Yeah. No, that's amazing too, because I think that's part of the reason that he's so successful. And same goes for Justin. If you have that kind of mind that works in that way, you can just really take it just as far as it can possibly go.
Right now, I want you to kind of like time travel, even if it was just 2 days ago. Time travel with me, and I don't know if I should use these words, but take me on like a world's first, like when Justin hit a world's first, and you were there, and he opened that egg, and it just blew your mind. What snake was it?
Well, the one that immediately came to mind was, so he made okay. So I'm in the office doing my computer stuff. And so something that's really fun and I think sweet is that his son, a lot of the time, will come. He has like a 14-year-old son. A lot of the time, he'll come like around the end of the day when he knows Justin's about to get off, and he'll just kind of hang out in the office and wait for his dad to be done with work. Well, so one day he came down and Justin was like, "Oh, I got this clutch, has like a head out. I'm gonna go cut it." And it was a chance at Desert Goes Pompeii. And so him and his son Greer, they go in there and they're cutting the eggs, and I'm doing emails or whatever. And then all of a sudden I just hear a literal scream, like a blood curdling scream. And I like poked my head in and I was like, "Is everybody okay?" And he was like, "Oh no, I don't think I got it." And it was Justin. He thought he hit the Desert Goes Pompeii. And so he just had literally screamed. And it wasn't. It was close. It was. I think it was missing one gene. I can't remember which one. But yeah, that sticks out in my mind as it would have been amazing if it was, and it would have been even more amazing if we had gotten that on camera. But unfortunately, we did not. But yeah, he let out a very, very alarming sound from his voice when he thought he hit that snake. The other ones that were really cool were the Kraken 2.0s. So we have the Kraken project, and then we had a second clutch. And I actually, Justin was out of town the weekend that they hatched, and I had to come up to the facility on a weekend to check for eggs from the females and just kind of make sure everything was all in order. And that clutch had started coming out of the egg. So I saw those before Justin did, and I was able to like take the pictures and like send him, I was like sending him videos and like that. So that was cool to actually get to be the first person to see those snakes come out, and like they were crawling out of the eggs like onto my hands, and they were so cool looking. So yeah, it was really fun.
I love it, man. I love it. I wish I could have been there, man. Now, this question is more so for me. With you being at KINOVA, a lot of your time, I know you do a lot of the camera work, but my question is, when the camera's off, how much time do you spend chasing loose rats that get out of the rat room?
That's why we have that dog. We have a dog, Blaze. He's a rat terrier. He does it all. He's better than anybody else. If there's a rat out, everybody's just like, "All right, let's go get Blaze," and he'll just in a second flat. Now, I don't recommend watching. I always kind of cover my eyes, but he takes care of it for sure.
I love it, man. I love it. Now, y'all do, especially if you're a Patreon member, you can come and tour the facility. So my question to you is, I'm gonna give you a hot seat question. If you could have any celebrity visiting the world, who would it be and why?
I'm gonna pick my favorite celebrity, which came off the top of my head, is the Hanson brothers. Don't
Okay.
judge me. I've loved them since I was a little kid, and if they wanted to come and hold some snakes, I would be right there, happy to do it. So
I'd like to see them, man. We got to get that happening now. Now my question to you too is, with him, the Justin's brand is synonymous. No matter what he does, he's gonna sell snakes. But my question to you is, with the rebranding, do you think it was an improvement, or you think it was kind of detrimental? Everybody knows the JKR, or do you think now it's like, okay, everybody knows KINOVA? Do you think it's still the same?
I think it was a great decision. I mean, obviously there's that little hurdle. You had to get over that hurdle, and there's always going to be those people that are like, "Well, I like the other one first. I like the other one better." But the reality is from a marketing standpoint, the industry is growing. It's always growing. There's always an influx of new people, and KINOVA is going to be more appealing to more people and more memorable and easier to remember and easier to spell and all those things for more people. And also Justin is at a point where he has built this career in this business for the past 20 years, and it's grown beyond what he envisioned that it would be. And so that change was necessary to be able to continue to grow the business and continue to push the boundaries and break, the walls that have kind of been in place so far for him to keep doing what he's doing and be a leader, he needed to take that step. So I understand that everybody hates change, and I understand that, you know, people might feel like, oh, it's too corporate or whatever people say. I mean, I see it all. I read all the YouTube comments, but you know, to that I say, to be honest, they're wrong. I mean, they can feel that way if they want, but from a general standpoint, marketing sense and kind of business decision, it was the right thing to do, and he had to do it. And you know, the only thing I think is that maybe it could have been done sooner. You know, it's one of those things where the longer you wait, the harder it gets. But yeah.
Right now with you being a part of KINOVA, my question is, how much trouble would I be in if I changed my name from Derek's Reptiles to DeNova?
Genova. Now, you know, honestly, I think you probably could get away with it from a copyright standpoint. It's not the same name. But if you started copying other things like our similar logo, similar stuff like that, then I think we'd have a case. But yeah, I mean, you can try. Just know that you know, we can hire the best lawyers. So
I love it, man. I love it. Now, I had Miguel on, and I asked him, you know, give me a crazy expo story. And he told me a story of one time he was at an expo, and a guy came up to him and was like, hey, let's go, you know, after this expo, let's go get some drinks. And they went and had drinks. And after they had drinks, the guy was like, well, I got a room down the street. And Miguel said, whoa, this isn't that kind of party. And I tell that story because I think it's hilarious. So my question to you is, you know, give me, because, you know, y'all are the industry leaders, you know, so do you have any crazy expo stories?
you know, I really can't think of anything that crazy. Everybody is really typically pretty respectful when they come by the booths. Um, you know, I think the craziest thing for us is just how many people want to take pictures with Justin, because me and Chase are sitting there like, they know he's a dork, right? But he always gets people wanting to take pictures of him and with him, and that's really the craziest part for us. But to be honest, I don't know if it's just because Justin has set kind of an example for like the type of person he is. You know, he's a really low key guy. He's real straight laced. I'm sure you can tell that in the videos. So we don't really get approached by people like that. At least I don't. But it sounds like a good time if you were to. So I don't know. Maybe next time I gotta spice it up a little bit and hang out with a different crowd.
Right. I love it. Now, you know, I'm not sure, you know, you do a little bit of everything. You know, you said you're cutting eggs, you're doing camera work, you're just doing a little bit of everything behind the scenes. So my question to you is, out of the collection, you know, what's the worst bite you ever took when you were like pulling the snake out? What's the worst bite?
Only two come to mind. One was just an adult. I mean, it was just bad because it was a bigger snake, so it hurt a little more, bled a little worse. But it was not super bad. The one that really hurt was, we did have the super dwarf retic. I had some people over that were doing a tour, and I foolishly, I just didn't realize that at this point, she was still in Iraq, and I didn't realize that she was like thinking it was food day, because it wasn't food day. I don't know why she thought this, but she was like poised and ready. I know now in hindsight. So I'm just la-di-da talking to these people, and I opened the cage, and I mean, she immediately got onto me. She didn't wrap or anything, but I mean, it was a good bite right on the tips of my fingers. And that always hurts when it's like on the tips of your fingers. But that's it. I honestly, like, knock on wood, haven't had that many bad bites. I'm pretty good at avoiding them. You kind of learn to avoid them when you're doing the cage cleaning job. So that has kind of prepared me for dealing with them in general. I avoided getting bit. I mean, really, even when I was dealing with, I mean, hundreds, if not 1,000 snakes, not 1,000, probably several hundreds of snakes each day when I was cleaning cages. And I still only got bit a handful of times in that 8 months. So you get pretty good at reading them and, maneuvering around where, you can get them out without kind of putting yourself in harm's way. But yeah, I feel pretty lucky. One of these days, the Bolins are going to tag me, just inevitably, and that's going to suck because they're big and they have giant heads, but it hasn't happened yet, and I'm trying to keep it that way as long as possible.
Right. I love it. Now, I'm not sure about Justin, but do you ever see yourself getting into the venomous part of the hobby?
Me personally, no. So Justin has kept venomous in the past, but it was like when he was a kid. Not a kid, but like a teenager. And I think now I've heard him say that he just, even though he thinks the animals are cool, it's just not not really a risk he's willing to take. And that's kind of how I feel about it too. I think I love all animals. I love venomous snakes. I think they're fascinating, but I'm a very risk averse person. So I just simply would never. I mean, it's not even something that I have any remote desire to do because I'm so risk averse. But I appreciate the people that do it, and like, what we're able to learn from them. And I love to look at the animals and stuff like that. But I'm like, why isn't it required to wear helmets in the car? Like, that's how like risk averse I am. So yeah, not for me.
Right. I mean, some people don't want to mess with venomous. I'm kind of the same way. I thought about it, but now I'm just like, I'm okay. What's up, Big D's Pythons? Thanks for stopping by. Hey, Fungus Queen, I see you. Thanks to everybody showing up. Now I want to talk, because y'all do a little bit of everything. You do Morph Market, you do Reptile Expos. So this is kind of like a double question. What do you think is KINOVA? What do you think is better for KINOVA? Do y'all prefer the Reptile Expos? Do you prefer Morph Market? And also my question to you is, because you see a little bit of everything, do you ever see Morph Market overthrowing Reptile Expos, especially with COVID?
So far and away, our sales online dwarf any sales we would ever do at a Reptile Expo. The online sales are, I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's got to be 90%, if not more, of our business. Because, and the reason being is just because of, first of all, how ubiquitous the internet is nowadays. Everybody has the internet, and you're able to reach people all over the world, not just in a select area at a specific time. It's all over the world 24/7. So the online sales are really where the business bread and butter is. The expos are great though for showcasing what we have, and for really reaching that niche of really, really dedicated people who are really into the hobby and want to see things in person and want to make connections with people. It's really great for relationship building, and it's also great for networking with other breeders and kind of just supporting the reptile industry as a whole. We do sell at reptile shows, and we sell, we make profits and everything, but it's not remotely comparable to what we sell online. But I think that being said, we also only do national shows. We don't do any local shows. So there's different approaches. So if you are a different company that maybe is somebody that likes to travel and they do shows all over the country every weekend, then that could maybe replace the sales that you would get online. But if we're only doing them, 2 to 4 times a year, and it's these big national shows, then yeah, there's no question that the online sales is way better for the business. But it's way better for the business in terms of monetary wise. But I think the expos are better for business in terms of just really kind of nourishing the relationship we have with other people that are interested in the reptile hobby.
Right, just real good for networking and showing what you got in person.
And
like,
just,
hey, look.
And also just putting a face to a name, because and that's also why the YouTube is so great, because people get to actually see you and hear you and feel like, oh, you're a real person that I can trust, and I believe what you're saying, and I see your facility, and and you see this, if you're at an expo, you see the snakes in person, and it kind of puts it all together for everybody, so it's not just a random listing online. So in that regard, maybe without things like YouTube or reptile expos, people do have the opportunity to experience kind of the personification of the business, maybe we wouldn't do so well, period. But yeah, for sure. They're both important, just in different ways.
Right. I couldn't agree more. Now, I got to ask, because this is such an amazing play on words, that I was like, man, that was Summer. I didn't think Summer came up with that. But I want to know, was it you or Justin that came up with the Headflix? Because I was like, that's pretty damn close to Netflix.
That was before my time. So that would either be Justin or Chase. But I'm gonna guess
come up with
Justin.
That?
I did not come up with it. I'm gonna guess Justin, because Justin loves puns. So Justin loves a good pun and a good dad joke. So I'm gonna guess that it was Justin. But it could have been Chase. I might be wrong.
I love it, man. It's super funny, man. I was like, that's a wordplay on Netflix. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it now.
the truck that the truck that Chase drives for the shows, the license plate is Netflix. So yeah, fun fact.
Now, I got to give you a hot seat question, man. We all see Justin. He drives those race cars, those little small Ferraris, or I'm not sure of the brand. Porsche. That's what I meant. Drives those nice Porsches and Porsche race cars. So my question is, have you ever, it's like, Justin, I need you to come look at this, and then snuck out and drove the Porsche?
I've never even been in them. I've seen them. They were actually, he's going to the track tomorrow, so he and his kids were. Well, I think he was letting his kids pretend they were helping. His kids are like 3 and like 8 or something. So they weren't really doing anything, but they were helping him with the car, getting it ready to go on the track when I was leaving today. So yeah, I see the cars all the time. I've never even sat in them. I don't, not to be rude, but I don't care. I'm just not into cars. My dad, when I was a kid growing up, my dad was really into like motorcycles and all that racing and all that kind of stuff. And I just was never my thing. So yeah, happy for him that he has something he's into. But yeah, not my thing.
I know that, but you still got to sneak out and test drive me. But I love it.
I know, but I also value my job. I would hate for something horrible to happen.
Yeah, he'd probably be pissed if that was right.
Yeah.
I would. Now, you have so much knowledge because you're working around Justin. You're there. You're soaking up knowledge too. So my question to you is, what's some good beginner breeder advice you can give somebody that's wanting to follow in you guys' footsteps?
Yeah. So I learned so much from helping to put together the Patreon that we have, which is business focused. That's kind of the whole idea behind it, is like giving people a place to really kind of learn what it takes to succeed and get where Justin has gotten. And so when we started the Patreon, we did a series, like a 4-part series about just how to start a ball python business. And so from filming that and then editing it, I felt like I just was like, I'm going to start a ball python business now because I know how to do it. But yeah, the thing that really sticks out to me is just planning and making wise purchases, which is hard to do, especially if you are new and you don't necessarily know what is a smart purchase. Everybody kind of starts out somewhere, and a lot of times we get so excited, we start buying everything we see that we think is pretty, but really having a plan for what you're doing long term. And then also your first clutches, like something that Justin shared that I just think of all the time is, if you can buy the snake somewhere else, you don't need to keep it, sell it. Like because a lot of people, they start breeding and they're like, oh, well, I'm going to keep a couple babies back for my clutch or whatever. But like, if the snake isn't high end enough that it is like the only one that exists, or you can't afford to buy it elsewhere, then you should sell it and use the money to buy a better animal, if that makes sense. So like, don't just hold back stuff because it's the best in your clutch. If it's not the best out there, you need to be selling and using the money to get the best, to keep progressing your collection forward. Otherwise, you're just going to kind of be spinning your wheels and you're going to get stuck in place and not really climb the ladder like you want to, because you're going to just take longer to get where you want to go. And with animals, especially, that time is really valuable because, if it takes you 2 seasons to produce something, but only takes the other guy 1 season, then you're just getting further and further ahead every time you go along. So yeah, just honestly, I feel like I learned so much just listening to him, eavesdropping on his conversations, just listening to him all the time when I'm sitting in the office. And yeah, there's so much to learn, but a lot of it is from experience. And then a lot of it is just thinking about it as an actual business and separating it from allowing yourself to think of it as a business and not feeling guilty for that. I think a lot of people in the animal world, we want to think, oh, I love animals. Oh, it's just a hobby. Like, I don't care, whatever. But like, if you really take it seriously and you treat it like you would treat any other business, that doesn't mean you don't love animals. It doesn't mean you don't love your snakes. That's really where you're going to be able to get ahead. You just have to think about it from a very tactical, logistical standpoint.
I love it, Summer. You got so much knowledge.
A giant head. Like I wear like an extra
Mega,
large helmet. Yeah, it's bad.
mega mind.
Exactly.
I love it, man. I love it. Now, you have Justin's ear, man, and yet, you help create these YouTube videos, and we love. Don't get me in. We love the egg cutting videos. We love seeing the snakes that he has. But I wanted to run a few YouTube ideas by you and see what
Go
you
for
think.
it. I need them, please.
Okay, the first one, you and Justin out herping.
Oh gosh. I would love to do that because I don't go herping nearly enough. We live in Georgia, and so it's relatively, temperate kind of climate. There's plenty of reptiles here, but I live in a pretty suburban area. Justin's a little bit more out in the woods, but he's also a little bit more north. So there's a little bit less reptiles. So we'd have to probably take a trip. If we could get down to South Georgia, we'd be golden. But yeah, I would love to do that. I know Justin, like when he went to Arizona last year, and he saw all these crazy, saw like wild rattlesnake. He saw all these awesome stuff. And I just feel like everybody else in my life always runs into reptiles except me. Like I constantly am getting texts from random people like, oh, I saw this snake. I saw this lizard. What is this? And I'm like, why do you guys see all the reptiles? I don't ever see anything. So yeah, that would be awesome. And I think it'd be a really fun video too, because it's so different. But yeah, we got to get out somewhere.
I think that'll go. I think that'll get y'all up there. The views would be up there.
Yeah, yeah. We got to go out somewhere.
All right, now the next video. Now this is gonna be for you.
Okay.
I love everybody in the snake hobby. I'm a fan of Justin. I'm a fan of you, and I'm a fan of Miguel. And I love competition. So I feel like one day you and Justin and Miguel should go live, kind of like how we are now.
Okay.
And then be like, you say, and we have 1 hour, and we're gonna stay on live for 1 hour. And whoever can sell the most snakes in 1 hour has to buy that first. Like let's say Miguel sells 10 snakes in 1 hour and Justin sells 9. Then whoever loses has to buy that person a lobster or something.
Okay, I kind of like that. There's some strategy that could be employed there too, because there's a little bit of strategy to like when we list things on Morph Market and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, I feel like plans could be devised there for sure. And honestly, I kind of feel like Justin will be into it because Justin has a little bit of a competitive nature, especially with his friends. He might have fun with that if it was Miguel. Somebody, it'd be all in good fun.
Yeah. Y'all go live right on your channel. You have Miguel join. Yeah, y'all just hitting the phone. Whoever can sell 15 snakes in 1 hour, and if you lose, you got to buy me a juicy steak, or if I lose, you got to buy me a lobster. I think that'll be a good video.
I like it. The Great Snake Sell-Off. I like it.
That's it. KINOVA versus AET.
I'll pitch it next week.
All right, now I got one more idea. Now this is based around you. Is that okay if I tell it to you?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Now I'm a fan of yours. I've been following you at KINOVA for a while. I'm a fan of Tyler Nolan. So now my question to you is, you should take some time to say, you know what? Summer from KINOVA goes to get tatted by Tyler Nolan.
Ooh, so I'm tat free, but I'm not
What?
tat free in principle. I'm just tat free in practice because I have I'm risk averse. And the idea that I would put something on me that I would one day not want on me, if I have to really get something that I really love. And I wanted to, so I just recently got married. And I wanted to, for my bachelorette party, go and have me and all of my bridesmaids get a tattoo, but I couldn't think of a tattoo to get. So somebody would have to give me a tattoo to get, and then I would go do it. I can't come up with it myself. Somebody's just gonna have to make one up and tell me this is it, because I can't make a decision.
I love it, man. I love it. That's hilarious, man. Do you now since COVID, the restrictions aren't as strict as they were? Do you see y'all doing any facility visits in the future?
Yeah, so we're
other
planning
facilities.
for us going around. So me personally, I'm going to be up at the Reach Out Reptiles Garrett Hartle facility in the end of July for their Retic Fest. I might try to ask Justin if he wants to come, but I'm going for sure because I just want to go. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know what Justin has planned. He travels a lot, and he usually doesn't tell me until to the next day. He's like, oh, by the way, I'm going to be out of town tomorrow. So I'm not sure if he has anything up his sleeve. Places I would love to visit. I would love to go to the Reptarium. I would love to go down to the iguana, Thai parks.
Thai parks. Yep.
Yeah, the iguana thing down in Florida. I forget what he calls it. There's so many places I would love to go up to. Terry Phillips' place up in, I think is it in Minnesota?
I think so.
Yeah, I would love to go up there. There's tons of places that I've never been that I would just love to go visit and hang out and check out in person. So that's something I would love to do more of, especially it's great obviously it's great content for YouTube. That's why everybody does it. It's like half the reptile videos on YouTube are people going and touring other people's facilities. But it would also just be great to go see some other snakes because we get so used to what we have at our facility that it's nice when we get the chance to go check out other people's collections. We had the chance when we went to Arlington back in February, I think. We went to Bill Stiegel of Phoenix Reptile. He invited us over to his place for a little kind of cookout thing. And he has an amazing green tree python collection. He also breeds ball pythons, and he has some other stuff too, some blood pythons and some rough scale pythons. And wow, it was just amazing to see what he's got going on and check out. I've never really seen a green tree python collection in person, although that's going to be changing soon because like I said, we might be getting into some other snakes over at KINOVA. Crazy. But yeah, so that was really, really fun. And I would love to do more of that in the future. So yeah, anybody that wants us to come check out their collection, let me know and I'll try to set it up.
I love that. And y'all heard it first. This is an exclusive. KINOVA might be sticking their hands in some other things. So y'all stay tuned. Super excited about that, man. So I got to ask, like I said, I'm a big fan of yours. What has been your favorite part of your job?
So much. Initially when I first started working there, it was just that I got to work there. That like I said, when I was a kid, I started a website when I was 12 for my reptile business that didn't really exist, but in my head it did. And so I started a website. I had a domain name. I hired a web designer. I was shipping my snakes that I bought from the pet store and selling them on Fauna and all this stuff. When I was a kid, I really I wanted to do it. And so to be able to be in a breeder's facility, working for them, seeing what it's like to be a reptile breeder, that was amazing. And then as it's gone, every kind of phase that I've been able to go through, I just feel like I've learned so much. In a way I've taught myself so much because I'm not trained in video editing. I'm not trained in really anything other than, I went to school, I have a college degree, but it's nothing to do with reptiles. I have a music degree. So, just being able to sink my teeth in and kind of teach myself what I needed to know to do what I needed to do has been a really amazing experience. And every day I'm excited for new tasks. Like now I'm doing a lot more of the sales, which is really fun. It's giving me a lot more business experience. I did my first kind of international shipment that I kind of facilitated and set up and did all the paperwork for. I did that a couple months ago, and that was amazing to kind of get to experience. So yeah, all of it really has been great. But I think the best part has to be the animals, just getting to go to work every day and see amazing, amazing animals that are unlike any other in the world. And even the ones that aren't, even the ones that are just a regular normal ball python or whatever, getting to see it hatch out of the egg or, have its first shed, stuff like that. It's just amazing. And if you love animals, it's hard to be disappointed when you go to work. So yeah, that's definitely the best part, is just getting to be with animals every day.
Right. Now, since we're talking about, since we're talking about animals, I got to ask this, and if it's decent, I'm going to come applying clean snake racks. I don't care. So my question is, now go with me, and I might be just having fun a little bit, but go with me. Let's say we work at Wendy's, that the employees is entitled to like a free cheeseburger. Let's say you work at like a car wash, you might get like a couple free car washes. Let's say you work at like a theater. You kind of know where I'm going with this, but let's say you work at a theater. You probably get to see a couple free movies a week. So my question to you is like, what has been your incentive? Have you been able to get any free snakes?
So I don't keep all pythons. I did in the past.
Not even one?
I don't have one. I did. I had one. The most recent one I had, I think I got rid of it about 2 years ago. I got rid of it. I rehomed it. I gave it to somebody. I'm just, to me, their personalities aren't super interesting. The Morse and the genetics are very interesting. but because I could never do the morphs and the genetics at the scale that we're doing at work, to me, it feels a little pointless to have them at home. So I just at home, I have species that are, they're in cages like this. They're more active and they're a little bit more engaging. Not that ball pythons can't be, they certainly can, but I just have different tastes for what I have at my house. So yeah, I don't even keep ball pythons. If I was going to keep ball pythons, my tastes exceed my budget. So I wouldn't really be that satisfied with what I was able to pick up. So yeah.
He still needs to write. You need one write-up. He needs to write you up because you work at the biggest ball python. You don't have one. That's a write-up.
I know, right? I don't know. I kind of think that he likes that I don't have any in a way. Chase doesn't have any either. Nobody has any. Well, that's not true. Greg has a ball python collection. Yeah, Chase doesn't have it. Chase has the only reptiles Chase has at home is lychees. He and his wife have a couple of Leachianus geckos. But yeah, nobody has any ball pythons. Justin, to be fair, also doesn't have any ball pythons at his house. So
what? Not even
just in the facility. No, he's got no reptiles in the house. He just got dogs and cats.
Oh no, he got to have at least one in the house. He said they're all in the facility.
They're all in the facility. To be fair, it's like a 500-foot walk from his house, so it's almost his house. Yeah, it's just down the hill. But
I love it, man. Now I only got a couple more questions. I'll let you go. I don't want to keep you too long. But how exciting is it for you when you get the chance to cut eggs, or do you even get the chance to cut eggs?
So I mean, Justin. I've watched Justin do it 1,000 times. I have cut a couple of times when I was there, like checking on stuff for the weekend, and they were due to hatch. It's exciting. It's fun. I mean, I love I think they're the same reasons everybody loves it. It's like that kind of like lottery. It's like a scratch off ticket, right? Like you're seeing what you got. It's fun. I was surprised at myself that when I did it for the first time, I thought I would be more nervous, but I think because I'd seen Justin do it so many times that I just knew it would be fine. But I think a lot of people are really nervous when they first cut eggs because they've never had somebody do it in person. Like they may have seen somebody do it online, but it's different to do it in real life. But since I'd seen it in person so many times, it wasn't a big deal. But it's so fun. I mean, there's a lot of people are maybe against cutting. I don't know if that trend has kind of faded. It kind of seems to go in waves. Like people cut and then people are like, no, cutting's bad. And they're like, okay, actually it's not bad. I don't think it's bad as long as it's done at the right time, but it's fun and it's exciting. And, it's something that, gives you that little endorphin rush, which we're all looking for, that little, serotonin boost. So.
Right. I agree, man. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on. I got one more thing that I want you to do. I don't know if you're down to participate.
I'm always down.
Actually, two more questions. The next question I say, we know that USARC is, they're coming for our animals, so everybody please go make sure you support USARC. Now, I have a plan to get the eyes off the reptile community. Are you interested in me in telling you my plan?
Yes. Hesitant, but yes.
Okay, now I'm going to tell you my plan to get the eyes off the reptile community. You got to participate.
All right.
Now, you only need 2 fingers, okay? I think 2 fingers. Now, on your way to work, I do it all the time. So on your way to work, just when you're driving, you look to the left of you. Let's say you see a dog in a cage. You just get out, unlatch the cage, let the dog out, and you just drive off. And I say that because if there's 500,000 loose dogs, the news doesn't focus on the reptiles anymore. They'll focus on the dogs.
I have politely decline. I believe that's some sort of like at least a misdemeanor. I don't know exactly, but it's got to be a misdemeanor. And I have a spotless record, so yeah, I'm gonna have to decline on that one. But I think you are right that USARC is we all need to make sure that we are supporting them. And by the way, guys, they have a YouTube channel now. So if you have not subscribed to them, go subscribe to USARC on YouTube. It's gonna look really bad if they're fighting some kind of like big case and they go on their YouTube and it has like 200 subscribers. Like we need to make sure that people know that like there is a lot of us out there. And if they are the organization representing us, they need to be as big as possible. They need to have as much support as possible. So, even if you can't afford for whatever reason to actually be a USARC member, subscribing on YouTube is free. So go do that. There's my PSA.
I agree. I was just having a little fun. I like to ask questions and have fun as we go.
For sure.
Before we end the podcast, I'm a fan of Brian Barczyk, and if you know Brian Barczyk. He loves sensationalized thumbnails, which I love too. He likes taking funny pictures on his thumbnail. So before we go, I want to make a funny face for my thumbnail, if that's okay with you.
All right. Yeah, let's do it.
Hopefully you're participating in a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. That's it. All right. I appreciate you, Summer. Don't go anywhere. I want to go backstage and tell you thank you.
Right.
I'm going to end this podcast. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for showing up. Right. If you get a chance, go over to the Iron Animal Show. Check them out. Awesome guys. Again, this was an amazing podcast. Thank you, Summer. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to put us backstage. Again, everybody, Summer from KINOVA. She is amazing, and they're doing incredible things at KINOVA. Thank you so much, girl with scales. Don't go anywhere. She's backstage. I'm coming backstage. I want to thank you personally. So until next time, man, this is Big Reptile Talk, and we out of here.
You don't start things and not finish them. You don't quit. There's nothing that comes out of quitting besides knowing that you didn't finish. We finish everything. You start it, finish it. If you're going to do it to try to be the best. Not to be better than other people, but to be the best of you. You grind hard so you can play hard. The work you put in will pay off. It could be a year, it could be 30 years.